June is a long and demanding month. Today, I want to talk about finding connection and calm through rhythm. As we enter the final leg of the academic year, this half term can feel quite long and challenging. I'm going to visit reasons for this in this post by discovering how the final weeks of term can induce a feeling of misalignment with the natural world and with our instinct to be outdoors so much more at this time of year. The final months of the school year are demanding because there's so much to do in terms of getting the job done and, of course, finishing the academic year on a high note. There are additional tasks such as marking tests, report writing, supervising school trips. These months are also demanding in terms of our mindset because we anticipate a transition, and the end of the school year, and this alone, can put the nervous system on edge. So what's the answer? For those of us lucky enough to get away in August, the promise of dedicated rest somewhere lovely shows our nervous system that the end of term is a good thing. If there's nothing in the diary yet, then there may be a feeling of unease and unnamed ambiguity. Imagine for a moment that this is the very middle of the school year. The experience would be very different. There'd be no sense of the end being in sight and yet so far away. Instead, the routines, the structure of the day, the sense of optimism offered by increased hours of daylight would provide a feeling of well-established flow and continuity. The rhythm of the academic year, as it leans toward the season of assessment, feels aligned with spring, as we see the intense season of growth with flourishing proliferation in nature. Why does it seem that the final segment of the school year is so much more demanding? It may be because the academic year culminates in the production of data. And as a concept, this is very highly valued. There's a strong sense of scrutiny, judgment, and bureaucracy. Grades, percentages, quotients are shunted through the machine. Processes involving tracking, predicting, matching, and analysing are translated into storing hats, and children are shuffled into new learning groups. This disrupts their social bonds, which may in certain cases be helpful or unhelpful, but either way, it's unsettling, and teachers work extra hard to smooth over these problems in schools where this happens at this time of year. People are quite fond of saying that numbers don't lie. We must also remember that they don't tell the whole truth either. The context matters now more than ever because of rising child poverty. If children go to bed hungry, and we know that many of them do, their end-of-year assessments will actually reflect their hunger pangs. And this is because memory processes are activated during sleep. Nourishment and replenishment are both necessary for learning. Numbers are only numbers. The children's own stories are what really matter, and numbers and data conceal these. If stories are the real data sets, then we can turn our minds to the myths that explain the heightened sensitivity that so many people feel at this time of year. These mythical narratives underscore a universal human impulse to honour the journey of the sun to its zenith at this time of year, and this was celebrated through joyful expressions of communal music and dance. Connecting to these timeless traditions can enrich our own experience of nature and foster a sense of global unity and celebration. Let's begin with Onya, the Celtic goddess of midsummer and sovereignty. In Irish mythology, Onya is celebrated during midsummer, particularly on a special hill called Knock Onya in County Limerick. People would light torches and carry them through fields and around cattle to invoke her blessings and to bring fertility and protection to the land, as well as communal well-being to the people. Baivi, the sun goddess of fertility and sanity for the Sami people, is celebrated in the summer as well. So among the Sami people, I'm going to do that again. Baivi was the sun goddess of fertility and sanity for the Sami people of the north of Finland, Norway and Sweden. Baivi, as the sun goddess, is associated with spring, fertility, healing and mental well-being. This part of the world is mostly dark, and during the winter there is no sun at all. These people understood something that psychologists only recently discovered, and that is that the sun is connected to our mental health. Therapies involving the use of light are relatively new, but the Sami people realised this wisdom a very long time ago. So upon the return of the sun, festivals with songs and dances were held to celebrate the restoration of both light and life. In Lithuanian mythology, Shale is the symbol of life, warmth and light, and she is depicted as a beautiful woman driving celestial horses from her chariot, traversing the sky from east to west. And she's considered to be the mother of the planet, presiding over growth and abundance. Her daily journey brings life-sustaining energy to the earth and its inhabitants. Shale was revered for her nurturing and benevolent qualities. So interestingly, the connection between the return of sunlight and growth and abundance in nature is also associated with protection of the land, protection of its fertility, and also protection of the well-being of people. The celebration of all of this through music, singing and dancing has been something of a universal thread woven between many cultures. 21st century academics conducting research in refugee camps have found the celebration of festivals and musical events helps to alleviate psychological distress and trauma, and it also reduces the stigmatization experienced by the refugees. The findings of the projects showed that there were positive benefits that were generated through forming social bonds, strengthening social engagement, and also creating social support networks. And all of this actually is completely unsurprising because there is a huge body of research demonstrating the pro-social effects of music on people. And in Norway, there was a powerful example of this. A research project which aimed to support the creativity of refugees, immigrant communities and asylum seekers was so successful in reducing harassment at school that there is now a multicultural musical festival in Norway to celebrate world music. Music festivals proliferate in UK parks at this time of the year, and these are also unique opportunities for intense social experiences which can create a strong sense of community. There is a sense of escape from everyday life, and this echoes the distinction between the sacred and the profane, which dates right back to prehistory. So the mythical and transformative qualities of the month of June have inspired interesting comments from well-known authors as well.
Are you stopping?
Yeah, because my thing went wrong.
You said harassment.
Yeah.
Harassment.
Okay, I think we can let that one go, darling. All right. Yeah.
No?
L.M. Montgomery, the author of Anne of Green Gables, spoke of the idyllic and perpetual charm of June. Oh, it's not at the top. I'll do it again. L.M. Montgomery, author of Anne of Green Gables, speaks of the idyllic and perpetual charm of June, resonating with longing for continuous warmth and light. And this is what she said. I wonder what it would be like to live in a world where it was always June. And John Steinbeck, the Nobel Prize-winning author, observed the dynamic beauty and diversity that June brings to the natural world. And he said, "In early June, the world of leaf and blade and flower explodes, and every sunset is different." And lastly, Joan D. Chichester, the Benedictine nun and author, reflected upon the transformative power of June, which for her encouraged renewal and the shedding of past burdens. And this is what she said: "June is the time for being in the world in a new way. It's the time for throwing off the cold and dark spots of life." So if you are feeling inspired to celebrate the month of June in your school, I have created a workbook for you called Joyful June. It contains 10 rhythm-based activities that are curriculum aligned, and these are just 10 little invitations to find rhythm, softness, stillness, imagination, and vibrancy with the children in your class. There's no particular skill involved except for leading, following, and listening, and it's free. And if you'd like a copy, then I would be delighted to email it to you. I'm going to be running a webinar on the Joyful June workbook, so if you'd like to come along to that on Thursday, I really look forward to seeing you there. Bye for now.